Namaste. My name is Dr. R. Balaji, Assistant Professor, School of Yoga Therapy, Institute of Salitogenesis and Complementary Medicine, Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth. Today we are going to see the basic thing about pranayama. What is pranayama and how does Maharishi Patanjali define pranayama and how he gives the benefits of pranayama and different classification of pranayama according to Hatha Yoga Pratapika, Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri Guru Maharaj classification and the different therapeutic application where all the pranayama can be useful in what type of disorders and the physical benefits of pranayama. So, what is pranayama? Prana, it is a vital cosmic energy, the vital force, the universal life force. Ayama is a controlled conscious expansion. That is how the pranayama is split into prana plus ayama together, pranayama. And it is the fourth limb of Maharishi Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. And this pranayama, it acts like a bridge between the body, emotion, mind and soul. And it is one of the most important aspects of yoga chikitsa, yoga therapy, which can be act as a monotherapy or which can be applied in other techniques like asana, kriya, mudra, a combination of therapy. And in pancha kosha level, it acts at the second kosha, the pranamaya kosha level. This is pranayama. And how does Maharishi Patanjali define pranayama? When the state of asana is completed, spontaneous, the physiological cessation of inhalation and exhalation, the state of Kevala Kumbhaka is pranayama. He says, Tasmin sati swasha prashvashor gati vicheda pranayamaha. And this is the definition. And what is the benefit of pranayama after you performed it? The tata kishte prakasha avanam, thereby the inner light which is disappearing, the cobwebs, he gets a clear wisdom and a clear understanding. And the next most important benefit is the mind attains the higher practices like dharana and dhyana. He states like that as darshanucha yogata manasa. So, these are the definitions and benefits of pranayama according to Maharishi Patanjali. Now, we are going to see the classifications of pranayama according to Dr. Swami Geetananda Giri. He classifies it in three different ways. The first one is yoga pranayamas or adamas, which has basis of cleansing property and which improves the nervous system stability, strengthening the nervous system, and which also helps to attain the concentration, which helps to focus the mind more attention. So, those pranayamas are the Vibhaha, Bhastrika, Kapalabhati and the cooling pranayamas Shitali and Shitkari. The second classification is Samyama pranayamas or Madhyamas, which helps to gain the sensory control, the Pratyahara, and which helps to concentrate more and helps to meditate more. Those are pranayamas like Brahmari, Pranava and Savitri pranayamas. And the last one which helps to get the universal force to be initiated, that is the Kundalini power. They are the Shakti pranayamas or Uttamas. For example, Ujjayi and Surya Vedana pranayamas. Now, according to Hatha Yoga Pratapika, there are 8 classical kumbhakas. So, these 8 classical kumbhakas have a different therapeutic benefits and they are based on the inhalation process which nostril you are using. And they are the Surya Vedana, the sun cleaving breath, Ujjayi, the victorious breath, Shitkari, the hissing breath, Shitali, the breakthrough breath, Bhastrika, the bellows breath, Brahmari, the sound of bee breath, Murcha, fainting or swooning breath. As soon as you finish the practice, you can able to feel that sensation. That is why it is given as fainting or swooning breath and Plavini, floating breath. So, these are the 8 classical kumbhakas which are mentioned in Hatha Yoga Pratapika. What is the importance of pranayama according to Hatha Pratapika? When the prana moves, the vital force moves, it moves through the mind as motionless without any movement And the steadiness of pranayama, the practitioner who do pranayama, he is able to attain that steadiness and he can restrain the vayu for a long time. This is the most important benefit of pranayama. And when pranayama etc. are practiced in a proper way, remember when pranayama is practiced in a proper way, how to do? It has a potential to eradicate all the diseases which are manifested in the body. But when there is a slight alteration in procedure how to do the pranayama, that initiates of other kinds of diseases and will go opposite of curing than creating diseases. This is the most important benefit of pranayama according to importance of pranayama according to Hatha Yoga Pratipika. And what are the advantages of pranayama as a therapy? It does not require any special equipment. Our own body and our own breath pattern is the equipment we need to do a pranayama. It can be integrated into day-to-day activities like walking, sleeping, sitting in a chair at your office and relaxing. It can be included in all the day-to-day activities, and it can be done by most of the patients, like people who are admitted in ICUs, recovering from the cardiac rehabilitation or any kind of rehabilitation. It can be done by most of the ICU patients and all kinds of patients, and it does not cause too tired in the physical level and mental level also, and it can be taught in very shorter time in a simple way, and it can be used with other practices like asana, kriya, mudra and bandha. That is why I told in the beginning, it can be used as a monotherapy or a combination of a therapy. And remember, I already told it does not require any equipment, so space is not problem. We can sit and do a pranayama, while walking we can do a pranayama, where we are there we can do the pranayama. So space is definitely not a problem, and we are not going to invest anything other than our own breath. So definitely it is very cost effective. These are some simple advantages of pranayama as we apply it as a therapy. And what are the drawbacks, the disadvantage? When there is an advantage, there is always a disadvantages of pranayama as a therapy. It needs the complete understanding how to do, when to do, where to do. That complete understanding should be there, and it should be done regularly and discipline, dedicated and determination. These three are very important, and it is not happening. So people who are not doing this continuously, it goes in an opposite way. That is why they are told that pranayama is not working. And the most important thing is lack of qualified teachers, and it is not a magic pill. If you take a tablet, after 1 hour or 30 minutes, you can see the difference. There is reduction in the pain, you can go to sleep. But pranayama does not act immediately. It will act simultaneously for a month and for a week. If you do a pranayama practice, you can able to feel the difference, and that difference will be sustained. If you are practicing for a long time, it will be sustained. It is not time bound. And what are the physical benefits of pranayama according to Hatha Pratipika? It helps to maintain our body in a slender way, lustrous body. It increases the gastric fire, the pitta, and excellent health. Ujjayi, the victorious breath, which cures the disorders of phlegms and the dhatus. Shitkari, one of the cooling pranayamas, which works on the satiety level, which helps to reduces the appetite, and it helps to reduces the thirst, sleep and lassitude. Shitali, one of the other important cooling pranayama, which help to reduce the pain in the colon and reduces the size in the spleen, which is also useful for during the time of fever, bile disorders, hunger and thirst are elevated, and even the poison is neutralized while practicing the cooling pranayama Shitali. Continuing the benefit, the exclusive right nostril breathing Surya Vedana, which purifies all the sinuses, and it cures the water disorders and it removes worms. Bhastrika, the forceful exhalation of the breath, which cures the phlegm and bile and gas disorders, helps to increase the gastric fire. Again I am saying, if the pranayama has to be practiced in a right way, when to do, how to do, where to do. If any change in that, it just acts in the opposite way. Now we are going to see the pranayama in different types: slow, activation, relaxation, and what is the benefit in right nostril, what is the benefit we are doing left nostril breathing. According to that, the pranayama is again divided therapeutically. So, what are the anti-stress pranayamas? When you feel stress, if you do the pranayamas like Sukha pranayama, Savitri, Nadi Shuddhi, Ujjayi, Anuloma, Viloma, the stress level is reduced, and it is useful for all the metabolic disorders and the musculoskeletal disorders, people who are having the coronary artery disorders, mostly the insomnias, and it is very useful for geriatric people. So, these are the slow rhythmic pranayamas. And activating kind of pranayamas, the people who are having depression, lethargy. So, what kind of pranayama is applicable to them? For them, Kapalabhati and Bhastrika, where there is forceful exhalation of the breath, and it is very useful for the conditions called bronchial asthma, hypothyroidism. As I already told, it is very useful for depression and lethargy. And these fast pranayamas are also very useful for the modern day syndrome called chronic fatigue syndrome. And relaxation, whenever we get activated, we have to give time for relaxation also. So, Chandra Nadi pranayama and Chandra Bredana, exclusive left nostril breathing and inhaling in the left nostril and exhaling in the right nostril. This is Chandra Nadi pranayama and the Chandra Bredana pranayama. This causes a relaxatory effect, and it is very useful for the disorders like coronary artery disease, hypertension, diabetes, anxiety, epilepsy, and hyperthyroidism. And after, we have to do some kind of activation also. When the left nostril is relaxation, the right nostril is activation. So, we need activation also most of the times. So, for that, the Surya pranayama and Surya Bhedana pranayama is very useful. Exclusive right nostril breathing, inhaling in the right nostril, exhaling in the left nostril. So, this is how we get activated, and this is useful for the people who are suffering from depression, asthma, hypothyroidism, syncope, and obesity. And pranayama also plays an important role in cleansing also, not only in cleansing of the body, but also the mind and the soul. According to that classification, the pranayama is again classified in different types like the Anunashika, which is useful for ear, nose, throat disorders, and the Kukriya pranayama, which increases the digestive fire, the digestive disorders, throat disorders, and Mukha Bhastrika. The scientific evidence has proven that which is very useful for attention disorder, learning disorders, and it is also very useful for diabetes mellitus and mental retardation. So, the most important pranayama of this summer season is the cooling pranayamas. The three important cooling pranayamas are the Shitali, Shitkari, and Sadanta, and it's, if you do it for 9 rounds, you can able to feel the differences in your body, and this is very useful for the woman we are going into the menopause and after the menopause, and people who are suffering from the thyrotoxicosis, ulcer disorders, appetite pitta condition, and the heat exhaustions. So, cooling pranayama is one of the important vital therapy, and the pranayama where the exhalation is increased than the inhalation, those are called the nada pranayamas. While breathing out, while exhaling, you will produce a sound, nada. That is why they are called as nada pranayamas. They are the Brahmari and Pranava pranayama, which is useful for most kind of respiratory disorders and other disorders like stress, depression, anxiety disorders. And anatomically, our lung has divided, the right side is divided into 2 parts, and we are having 2 lobes, and the left side is divided into 1 part, and considering the lingula as a 3rd lobe, the right and left lobe, 3 lobes are divided, and for each lobe we are doing a pranayama with a sound of A, U, Im, Akara, Ukara, Makara, and the complete one like Om, chanting the Om. They are the Adam pranayamas for the lower lobes, which is useful for concentrating more on the abdominal and the lower limb disorders. Madhyama pranayama, the middle one, chest and upper limb disorders. Adhyam pranayama for the head and neck disorders, the upper lobe of the chest. And the Mahat Yoga pranayama, the Purana, the complete one. While doing this Mahat Yoga pranayama, it activates the whole of the body and At the same time, we are activating the lower lobe, middle and upper lobe and chanting Om while we are doing the expirations. So, what is the autonomic and metabolic functions when we are doing the alternate nostril breathing? Remember, here the nostril which you are inhaling matters more. That causes the effect, not the expiration. Which nostril your expiration is not matters. Which nostril we are using for inspiration, that matters. According to that, right side activates the sympathetic nervous system and left nostril activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So, this is the most important thing, and according to that, the therapeutical benefit has been observed here. And the most important thing is the modern day conditions like the metabolic disorders like diabetes, hypertension, obesity and increased cholesterol levels. For them, Chandranadi pranayama is very beneficial, especially the diabetes mellitus and hypertension. Pranayama is based on the therapies. How can we can apply based on vibration. So, Savitri pranayama, which has the all 4 component like inhalation, hold in during the inhalation, exhalation, hold out during exhalation. It can be done in it can be mingled with many other techniques also. So, vibrational breath therapy like Savitri pranayama, Pranava pranayama and Chakra awareness. Pranayama while walking, Savitri, Nadi Shuddhi and Sukha pranayama. So, while concluding that, we can say that pranayama has a immense therapeutic potential in stress related, the psychosomatic disorders, and pranayama is one of the important vital yoga sadhana. Remember, breath is the one thing which connects the mind. So, pranayama can able to deal everything, it acts as a bridge, and regular dedicated determined practice of pranayama is the most important monotherapy or a combination therapy which help to increase the quality of one's life. And remember, before practicing pranayama, we have to have a good prerequisites with yama, niyama and asana. That's how the pranayama sadhana can be obtained fully. Hope you all know the basis of pranayama, its classification and its therapeutic benefits. Thank you.